everyone, welcome to this unboxing of the Ameo Tarot deck. So it is right next to me here, and I was sent this by the creator. She contacted me on Instagram and very kindly sent this to me for free. Thank you so much to her. And yeah, it's here. It came from Paris in a very cute pink package. I already took off the foil, but I haven't looked at it at all myself yet. I've seen some pictures online, but I don't really know what is in store for me. I know that it is a deck to help you learn astrology, which I believe, I guess the letters stand for. The A stands for astrology, the M stands for magic, the E stands for étude, which means studies in French, I believe, and the O is just oracle because it is an oracle deck. It has quite a lot of cards in it actually for an oracle deck, and it comes in a very beautiful box. I think 72 cards. The box is amazing. It has a galaxy print on the back, and then on the front you have the symbol and also kind of a galaxy background in this beautiful pastel pink. So let's dive into this. I haven't seen this myself. I was actually planning to make this the first video that I uploaded after my long break, but then it just so happened that I decided, no, I'm actually going to upload that video I uploaded last week about why I haven't uploaded a video in a long time. If you want to watch that, you can do that, but this is going to be the first video after that. So it is wrapped in a little sleeve. Let me just open that. That sound. And I think what I've seen online as well is that there are some like explanation cards. I need to understand this deck first. So the backs have these beautiful moons, which I like a lot. And yes, in the back here, so we have 72 cards, and in the back of it, we have spread ideas. There's no guidebook, but there is these spread ideas that you can use. So there's a few different spread ideas. I'm not going to show all of them, but just one to illustrate it. The stellium, what is hidden, what is blocking, resisting, the origin of this block, and the advice. So quite a simple thing. Then another one would be the transit. What can I let go of? Why? What needs to grow? And why? I love a simple spread, you guys. I love when spreads are just on point. So I very much like these two, and I will try them with this deck as well. And I'm actually going to go through from the front because I feel like I'm just going from the back now. So right at the top, you have this Ameo deck card with the back as well. And then comes the actual cards that we want to look at. It starts out apparently with the Zodiac signs. So on every card, if in this case Aries, for example, you have the symbol of the Zodiac sign, then you have the symbol of the element that it goes with. In this case, this triangle upwards means fire. Then it says Aries, and then it has a few keywords. In this case, initiate, open the doors, assert yourself, take action, realize. And then it also has the corresponding planet that rules the sign. In this case, that is Mars. So I like that a lot because especially if you have no idea about astrology at all, this can be a nice way to learn about it because you learn the elements, you learn the planet. And I wonder later if maybe there's going to also be some information about whether they are mutable or fixed signs or cardinal signs. I don't know quite yet how this is going to go. So we will just go through it. I very much like the design of the cards. I like how big and clear the zodiac signs are displayed. For Virgo, we have the downwards triangle with the strike through, which means that it is Earth energy, and the planet is Mercury. And the cue is take care of yourself, question yourself, improve yourself. So what I like about this is that if you use it as an oracle deck rather than as a deck to learn something with, what's going to happen is that you have these little cues in order to help you understand the card. So even if you just want to use it as an oracle deck, this is very good advice. Because, for example, for Scorpio here, it says, get to the bottom of things, affirm your power, transform. And you don't even have to think about like, oh, this is Scorpio, what does that mean? Instead, you can really just read these words if you want to use it as a simple oracle deck, and there you go. You have already a meaning and already a direction to think in, which I like very much. Aquarius, Pisces. Now, what comes next? Okay, what comes next after the zodiac signs, after the 12 zodiac signs, come the planets. Planets and celestial bodies, I will say. So here we have Sun, which this is the symbol for the sun, in case you don't know. And it says deep self, soul, self-esteem, vitality, personal radiance. And below that it says the father, the husband. I want to see how this continues. I wonder where these bottom correspondences come from. Here's the moon. Obviously, we have the mother and the wife here. Mercury is the messenger. Venus is the lover, the girlfriend. Mars is the lover, the boyfriend. Jupiter is the benevolent guide. Saturn is the wise, the guardian. I like that a lot. Uranus is the liberator. Neptune is the veil. If that's not cool, I don't know what is. Pluto is the shadow worker. It says transformation, inner power, unconscious, death, sexuality. Black moon, this is sometimes called Lilith, the forgotten strength. Chiron, a wound can become a healing tool. Of course, the wounded healer, Chiron. Okay, so we have the 9 celestial bodies plus the black moon Lilith and Chiron in this deck. Those are the most important planets or celestial bodies in astrology. Those are the ones that most people look at. There's other ones that you can look at as well in a birth chart, but those 11 are the most important ones, definitely. So I think it's great that this deck covered all of them. So it's good to gain some basic knowledge of the planetary energies. And I'm very excited to use this deck because once you start combining the signs with the planets, I think it will help me also gain a deeper understanding of how it connects. Because if someone in their birth chart, for example, has Venus in Pisces, then it means something very specific. It's a specific combination of energies, and I think it will help me to think about these things. If I just draw a random planet card and a random zodiac sign card, I can start thinking about it and start thinking in a direction. So I like that a lot. Now, next up, we have the houses, obviously. The houses are kind of based on the zodiac signs. At least that's how I remember them, because the energy of the houses very much corresponds with the energy of the 12 zodiac signs. So in the first house, it kind of has to do with Aries, and it is about personality, identity, individuality, beginnings and goals, like your outward appearance. Then we have the second house, which corresponds with Taurus, kind of. So you have values, possessions, resources, body, grounding, and you also have the Taurus symbol here for you to help you remember what it corresponds to. So all of these houses cards, yes, they're very, I like how clear these cards are. They aren't overloaded with information, which I think helps a lot in studying, because sometimes we get a little bit too eager when we make cards like this. You know, if I try to study something, sometimes I try to cram everything in one page. I'm like, oh, Aries, this is the planet that goes with it, and this is the house that goes with it, and this is the planet's energy. And it's good to see all of these connections, but it's also good to sort of don't overwhelm yourself with too much knowledge. So those were the houses. We had the zodiac signs, the celestial bodies, the houses, and now I believe we are moving on to, these are just like other positions in the in your birth chart that are relevant. So for the North Node, we have the evolution path and the way to follow. In the South Node, we have knowledge, skills, luggage, and heritage. I actually read a super interesting article about the North and South Nodes by Alice Sparkly Cat. She's an astrologer on Instagram. I'm going to link that article below because I think it's super, super interesting. And she breaks down each and every North and South Node in that article. So you can also read about your own, what the themes of it are. Yeah. Then we have the lucky card. I guess you can use that for whatever you want. Retrograde. So are we getting into, this is just kind of a mix now of astrology vocabulary, I would say. Here it says retrograde, new perspective, introspection, reflection, think different. I like that. Then we have elements. Okay, we have 4 elemental cards. And the corresponding zodiac signs are marked as well and what it refers to. So for fire, we have action, vitality, impulse, passion, will, desire, enthusiasm. For earth, we have physicality, grounding, foundations. Air is communication, thought. Water is intuition, feelings. Yes. That's pretty solid. And I like that it has this wheel at the top where it marks again which signs are that element. So it's quite good, you know, if you actually want to study with this, you could cover this up and then like tell yourself what the 3 signs are that correspond with water. Then we have yin and yang. Okay, that's interesting. Yin polarity and yang polarity. It says feminine and masculine polarity. I prefer the yin-yang logic a lot more than the whole feminine-masculine. But I think in order to learn things, in order to understand things, it's perfectly acceptable to have these words on there, even though I feel like I'm very happy that she put yin and yang and not just feminine and masculine, you know? So I appreciate that a lot because yin polarity, it says here, is introspection, contemplation, receiving, accepting, imagination, intuition. And yang polarity is exteriorization, action, emitting, giving, reasoning, reality. Very good. And here is the thing that I was wondering about before. We have the cardinal, mutable, and fixed signs all broken down into these same wheels that we had with the yang and the element, yin and yang, and elemental properties. So that's really good. That really helps you visualize and remember it, because I think a lot of people don't realize that remembering these things isn't so hard, because there's such a solid structure that this follows. Because if you look at the position of the signs in the mutable, you know, in this, you see that they are obviously all in the same position. The order of signs is always cardinal, fixed, and then mutable, and then cardinal, fixed, mutable again. And I feel like these cards help you understand these systems a little bit more, even if you have no idea of astrology. Now, this is going to be interesting for me because this is actually kind of a weak point of mine as of now with astrology, which is how the different celestial bodies can relate to each other. So conjunction is the easiest. A conjunction happens when 2 planets are at the same, or I think 0 to 10 degrees away from each other. That's a conjunction, which means that they support each other, they are fusing, they are in a union, and it's like a focus of energy. But then it becomes a little bit more complicated. We have a semi-sextile. That's interesting. Is there a different name for a semi-sextile? I don't think. Semi-sextile, novile, semi-square, sextile, quintile, square, trine, and you know, the logic behind this, it took me a long time to understand or to research this actually, is that it is a trine because it is 120 degrees removed from each other. One planet is here, the other is there, so it's 120 degrees on the 360 axis removed from each other. And because 360 divided by 3 is 120, that's why it is a trine. And there's also the symbols for each of these. Sesquisquare, I've never heard of this. That's interesting. Biquintile, I've never heard of these. In conjunction. Opposition, that's an easy one, 180 degrees, right through the middle. Okay, okay. I will have to look up the words for these because I feel like, you know, there's no quincunx, I guess. Sextile was there, square was there, trine was there, but I'm definitely going to see if there's more that aren't part of this, but I'm not quite sure. This is kind of where my astrology knowledge becomes a bit fuzzy. Okay, and then in the back here, we have some good memorization cards that can actually help a lot. So let's go through these one by one. We have the rulership card, which shows which planets rule which zodiac signs. So for example, Aries has Mars, obviously. Pisces has Neptune and Jupiter. Aquarius has Uranus and Saturn. I know that there's quite a few different theories on this, like what planet rules what. Then detriment, where each planet is in its detriment. So for example, when the sun is in Aquarius, that is in its detriment. And the little meaning it has, learn new rules and adopt yourself to them. I like that because even though this is like a studying card, you could still use this if you do an oracle reading and just read this text and say, okay, learn new rules, adapt yourself to them. Interesting. So you don't have to like take this card out when you do an oracle reading for yourself. Exaltation, this is where the planets are exalted, being placed in a good environment to improve the ordinary. Makes sense. And then the fall, find your expression in an uncomfortable environment. And then these last two cards, these are just the sum ups of the zodiac signs, the numbers that they have in the wheel, the kind of like the energies they have, creation, action, and their element. That's interesting. And then in the last card, we have start, maintain, adjust. We have the cardinal signs, angular houses, fixed signs, succedent houses, mutable signs, cadent houses. Honestly, I've heard these words before, but I don't know what it means that they are angular houses or succedent or cadent houses, so I'm going to have to look that up. And that is it. And then lastly, you have the spread ideas, as I said before. So I like this deck a lot personally. Let me sum up my thoughts on this. So the way I feel about it is that I do have a lot of basic knowledge about astrology, but there's certain areas that I'm not quite firm in yet. And I feel like this deck is definitely going to help me inspire me to look more things up, because sometimes you get a little bit settled in your knowledge. You kind of know as much as you know and you're fine with it, you know. But maybe what I'm going to establish is a routine where I draw one of these cards every day, and no matter whether it's something that I'm already firm in or something that I know nothing about, I will still study it and still look at it, and there's always so much more to learn. Sometimes maybe I'll draw two cards in combination, see how the energies combine. And I think it's a very, very useful deck as a study companion if you want to get more into astrology. Now, I also have a book about astrology that a friend gave me that I want to recommend. I will leave a link to that down below as well. And yeah, I feel very good about recommending this deck to people who want to learn more about astrology and who want to gain a deeper understanding of it. Especially for people like me who started through tarot, it's kind of more comfortable to use cards than books in order to learn this stuff. Because with books, you always have a linear environment. You either read it front to back, or maybe you open a random page, but it's not the same as drawing a card, you know. I very much like this element of let me see what is in store today and learn through that. Learn through that rather than learning 1 through 10, the suit of cups. I like drawing a card. Oh, it's the 4 of cups, and then I learn about it, how it relates to my day, etc. And I feel like that is what you can do with this Ameo deck very, very well. You can draw a card every day, draw a card every week, see how the energies relate to you, and gain a deeper understanding of astrology in that way. So you will learn about the planets, about the zodiac signs, about how the celestial bodies can relate to each other, and about so much more, like spreads and all of these ideas in this deck. The houses, I'm really in love with this. And I haven't even talked about how wonderful these cards feel, because they are matted and they feel very like soft and smooth and buttery. It's an incredibly nice feeling to touch them, and to shuffle them is probably very, very nice as well. I don't like super shiny cards. No, I do like super shiny cards, but matted cards are just easier to shuffle. Let's put it like that, because they don't stick together so much. So the quality and the card stock of this deck are really, really good. And I feel like I'm going to use it a lot to drive my astrology studies and to inspire myself to look more things up in the realm of astrology. So yes, I will leave a link below to where you can buy this deck if you want to learn more about astrology as well, and if this is a medium that you can learn very well with. It is for me, because it kind of has this cue card feeling rather than a linear book. So I very much look forward to working with it. Link is below. So show the creator some love. Let her know I sent you. Let her know that I showed the deck and that you liked it. And yeah. Then I will be happy, she will be happy, and it will all be good. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. I will put a link to my Instagram below as well. I will post about this deck there. I'm going to leave a link to my Patreon if you want to support me there. That is always much appreciated. And if you aren't subscribed yet, consider subscribing and dwelling in my domain a little longer. And yeah, I will see you very, very soon. I hope that you have the greatest of days, the greatest of weeks.